Well, as Kari said earlier, the elections in Delta State have come, certainly not gone anywhere, and that's where we are going right now. Well, not just in Delta State, but Delta State specifically. Right now, we, have with us here Honorable Efe Ofobruko, who is a member Media Committee 2023 Governorship Campaign of APC in Delta State. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
We also have with us Dr. Festus Okubo, who is Chief Strategist to the Governor of Delta State, joins us virtually from Asaba. Thank you for joining us this morning, Doctor. All right. Let's begin with you, Mr. Ofobruko. First of all, take us through this, what's happening, especially within your party. On the one hand, your party has rejected the results. Your candidate has rejected the results.
I have also rejected the results.
You have also rejected.
Are you different from your party?
Anyway.
I'm trying to emphasize the fact that
it's a round rejection.
But however, it's also in the news that your candidate has been expelled from the party. And even though there's been some other notice put out saying that's not true. Tell us what's happening about that first.
Okay, yeah, it's quite interesting. If you ask me, I think that's just a drama, storm in the teacup. But in a media giant like Channels Television, I believe you guys were actively involved in the congresses that led to the constitution of the party executive from the grassroots level to the national. I am very sure if you look at your archives, you have the records of those who emerged as the executive committee of the APC in Delta State. And those names, those characters you are seeing on the so-called letter purportedly written by the school.
That's the Labour Isaac you're referring to.
Yes, you know that those are not those names you see, they do not constitute the structure of the party. The state chairman of APC in Delta State is Mr. Omeni, though an elder in church, so most people refer to him as an elder. Omeni Sobotie is the state chairman of APC in Delta State. His name is not on that list. That is to tell you that the names you see there are just pretenders. But most importantly, 80% of those names written there were written without the knowledge and consent of the people.
Because they're members of your party as well.
Yes, they're members of the party. But written without the knowledge and consent of those people, 80 to 90% of them are not even executives of the party. Somebody just created signatures for them, while the others are domestic staff of Mr. Cairo Ojugbo. Because that document you are seeing in circulation was generated by Cairo Ojugbo, but funded by the PDP. If you look at the coverage of their letter, it is in practically every media today. Since yesterday, they have been reaching out to journalists across the nation, throwing funds. It's more or less like a paid advert.
What's the interest of Mr. Cairo Ojugbo? Pardon me.
Of course, in the last 2 weeks or so, Mr. Cairo Ojugbo has been in the media, and to the best of my records, as of last week, he was expelled by his ward.
He said that was done by the domestic staff.
Yes.
Your words are just...
Let me finish.
No, just to put it in context.
Yes.
Right? Just to put that.
Yes.
Because you use those words. Interestingly, he has used those words too.
Now, for example, somebody like Michael Inana that is on that list is a domestic staff from Dr. Cairo Ojugbo that I know very well. So he just created it. You can go to a business center and just create letterhead. Look at the letterhead. The name of our party is All Progressives Congress. That is the name of our party. But on that letterhead, you will see All Progressive Congress. A man that does not even know the name of his party cannot be an official of the party. That is to tell you that letterhead was generated from a nearby business center, maybe even a printer in his house. And he just put names of anybody he feels like, created signatures, and of course, funded by the PDP. He's a player. You know, Cairo Ojugbo is a mercenary of the PDP in the APC. And they went to every media house to say this and that. The real leaders of the party, they have spoken. They have come up with a position that these people are impostors, they are pretenders, they are not known to the party.
A member of the PDP is on this panel, so let's ask him. Dr. Kubo, I mean, you've heard the allegation, if we can put it that way. How do you respond?
It is very sad, but clearly typical of the APC. Cairo Ojugbo, for instance, is known to have been the executive director appointed by President Buhari to NDDC as a prominent APC member. Now you are saying he's a mercenary of PDP. the APC is just a house of confusion. They are not, and that's part of the reasons why they lost the elections shamefully. It's a house of confusion. These are members of your party. A week after election, look at the confusion they have. So now you look back and ask, how did they go to the election? How could they have won? It's just a mess, and that's what they are. So I don't want to get involved in their internal, affairs. The more confusion they have, the better for me as a PDP member. I know they don't have the capacity to deal with the things in front of them. It's a big shame.
Are you denying that the PDP is in any way involved in this confusion, as you put it?
Absolutely. How? These are known senior members of the APC. And over time, you've been reading the papers, they've claimed to have been alienated by the gubernatorial candidates. They've all been out fighting each other, even when the elections were going on. They were busy. Oh, I was alienated, I was not alienated. We were campaigning. We were going from ward to ward, unit to unit. They were big. You also mentioned it just now. When Cairo Ojukwu was expelled, he also said those who were signatories to the expulsion letter were domestic staff of the gubernatorial candidate. Ofoburuku, my brother, is now saying those who expelled the Ofie are domestic staff of Cairo. But the point is this, is that is the APC in Delta. Complete house of confusion.
All right, let's come to Honorable Ofoburuku naturally. And I'd like us to refrain from name calling. I mean, some of the people you mentioned are not here to speak for themselves, so it doesn't look like an attack on personality of these people. It's interesting, really, because you were in the PDP. Am I correct?
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time. And,
yes.
Some might say that, I mean, easily, are you a double agent yourself? But, that aside, let's talk about how, I mean, your candidate sounded like what this was going to happen for him. Okay, he had, a lot of backing, talk about the national, he had a lot of ground support too, but the elections came and saw the margin, 120,000 vote margin between them. And it looks like the PDP still maintains its hold on Delta State. And he talked about how you approached that election. Have you done some introspection and thought, okay, maybe we didn't approach the elections. There's still infighting within your party. We just mentioned someone that was purportedly expelled. He said that, well, it wasn't done the right way. Have you done that introspection? Have you found out what exactly happened such that, you have benefit of the PDP and the APC so that you can say, okay, this is where we maybe got it wrong and we need to fix it.
Okay, thank you very much. But let me quickly say this. There's a local saying in my place in Delta, where I come from. You cannot work in a palm oil mill and not get stained. To that extent, I will say that this conversation cannot be complete if certain names are not mentioned. Because at this level, we should be putting things the way they are. We should be saying them the way they are.
Right. If you have the evidence, present it as well.
So let us go on with the discussion. Dr. Kubo just mentioned that the APC has issues, internal wranglings, and all of that. And I laugh. Dr. Kubo was one of those that was alienated by the present administration in Delta State. Himself was in the wilderness. He's just coming out of the wilderness, and they gave him that appointment as a chief strategist. And today he's talking about people being sidelined and whatever. But in any case, that is not the case in the APC.
Did he tell you he was in the wilderness, or this is just your own reading?
You said something that I used to be in the PDP, which means we know ourselves very well. So I was director of admin.
So he told you?
I was director of admin in the Okowa campaign in 2019. I served 2 tenures in the House of Assembly. I was special advisor on legislative matters, which means I was in the government. So I can tell you some things that must have transpired in the government, or some things happening in the government. You must have also wondered why I had to leave the PDP. So
were you in the wilderness as well?
I did just find myself in the wilderness. I found myself behind the wilderness. I was taken far, far deep inside the wilderness. And I'm an active person. I know that I still have so much to offer, and I realize that that place
Can you break that down for us? We're outside the wilderness.
We'll leave that for another discussion. Let us take the issues that have been raised already. Now, like I said earlier, Dr. Cairo Ojukwu is a mercenary of the PDP in the APC. He was expelled by his word.
What proof do you have?
The expulsion, I will address the issues one by one. The expulsion was duly ratified by the State Working Committee of the APC. we have equally communicated with the national. So his expulsion followed due process according to Article 21 of the APC Constitution. Unlike this caricature or this mockery of what some persons are trying to do, well, we are not rattled, we are not bothered.
They also cited Article 21. It's like
then most importantly,
copying from the same handbook.
No, most importantly, Dr. Kubo talked about our party not being together, hence we did not approach the elections the way we should. Are you aware that 2 local government chairmen have been sacked from office by the present PDP administration in Delta State after the elections because they believe that those chairmen worked in tandem with the APC? Are you aware that more than 10 councillors have also lost their seats in their various local governments thanks to the PDP administration in Delta State?
Are you aware on the PDP?
No, I'm trying to address the issue. I just want you to realize.
And add to that,
I just want you to realize that the fire in the
PDP
is even worse than the internal wrangling that is in the APC. And let me say, we did not lose that election. We won the election the way the election should be won.
But that's not what the result says. APC won in 4 local governments.
What you have today that is being referred to as a result is a result that is wearing makeup. And that's why we have gone to the tribunal to say, please, sir, help us remove the makeup from this result. Because what you are seeing, what is being paraded is not the outcome of the election.
Are you twisting the judiciary to rule in your favor or nothing else?
Of course, rule in our favor. We are not asking for too much. Just wipe the makeup from the result.
What if evidence shows otherwise?
You see the truth. I can tell you that it will not show otherwise.
Do you have your own result sheets?
We have the unit results from the various units. Collect the unit results. Let's see the outcome. We know the manipulations that took place.
You are saying categorically that your results are different from what was uploaded to the IREV portal.
We are saying that what is uploaded does not tally with what was declared in Asaba. That is what we are saying. And we are also aware of the manipulations that they did in connivance with some blacklegs in our party and some unscrupulous elements of the who are agents of the umpire who is supposed to be unbiased.
Okay, let's go to Dr. Kubo, but you didn't provide proof, or at least refer to any proof you have for claiming
of which of the issues?
That Mr. Karojuwo is a double, that's your term, a double agent. What was the term exactly you used?
Mercenary,
right?
Yes.
What is the proof you have? It's important to also back that.
Okay, so we will conclude today's conversation. We'll schedule another day to continue so that I can bring video evidence. First, before the elections, Dr. Karojuwo called meetings in his house in his hometown, Eleyame, where he held meetings with our party faithfuls and told them, in quote, that the leaders have met at the national level have agreed that they should vote a certain party, certain individual.
When you say our party, do you mean PDP or APC?
He was telling the APC people in his community that the leadership of our party, they have met at national level and agreed that certain individuals of certain parties should be voted for during the election for certain positions.
Not the APC.
Not APC candidates. Vote for this person of this party for this position. Vote for this person of this party for this position. Vote for that party.
And you can back this up with proof.
I am telling you that I have video evidence that I can provide to this station. And this is a man who calls himself a leader, a critical stakeholder. If you know the history of Dr. Karojuwo, if you follow his political antecedents, you will know that this is his stock in trade. You were in this station when he acted the drama of fainting at the National Assembly because he needed to provide the books and records of the NDDC where he was a member of the Carrying Management Committee.
Again, I mean, those are your views. It's important to note that this is not
except you are telling me you didn't watch the video where somebody fainted at the National Assembly.
I mean, describing it as a drama again. What if it wasn't? So that's your view. But
let's go to that one.
I mean, let's go to Dr. Kubo.
Just to add that Mr. Karojuwo has the right of reply on the program.
So, Dr. Kubo, I mean, lots of issues have been raised, and I don't know how you want to respond to it, starting from the point he made about a certain wilderness which he believes that you were in.
You can see why the APC lost the elections. On national television, it's all about eating up their members and letting the world see their dirty linens that we are not interested in seeing, quite frankly. Now, in terms of wilderness, that is part of what has put Nigeria where we are. Everybody believes, oh, I am in office today, I must be in office forever. I got contract yesterday, I must get contract today. And at the slightest inconvenience, they are jumping ship, clay-footed politicians, jumping from PDP to APC, from APC to whatever. So much so that in what their gubernatorial candidates, in 1 year, changed parties, 5 different parties. And he wants to be governor of Delta State. Now, I was a national public secretary of GDM, and I've been in PDP. I have seen good nights, I have seen bad nights. I remain in PDP, and I work for PDP. I'm not in politics because of pecuniary interests. Talking about wilderness, I have never, God forbid for me to ever be in any wilderness. I am a child of God, but the period you didn't see me on my brother, I was chairman of Gov'ship Polytechnic. I was chairman of Ozoro Polytechnic. And when I had time, apart from my farming work, when I had so much time in my hands, I went and enrolled as an undergraduate at the Delta State University. I was reading music full time. I just graduated in September. My convocation is in this April, on the 28th. I came out with a first class. I'm not idle. I was not in the wilderness. And even in school, I was doing my work. I was a chief strategist. I've been chief strategist for over 2 years. I don't make noise with my work. My work is not to report to you. So I don't know what you talk about wilderness, but you can see the motives that make people jump from one party to the other.
All right, Dr. Okubo.
Yes.
Yes, just 1 second. My colleague Neota has a question or two for you in Abuja. Neota.
Thank you so much, Dr. Okubo. I like the way you started your last submission, from pulling back to strengthen yourself, to empower yourself to continue to do what you do, as you say, serving the people. But I just want to ask a question, and the question is, in all of this, where do the people of Delta State come in? Where are the desires of the residents of Delta State in all of these activities that you have been carrying on? How does that help the people of Delta State?
For instance, we worked hard to ensure that we did not allow bandits to take over governance in the state. We worked hard, and the PDP clearly won the elections. We beat them, and it is because of the people. It is not because of us. I am 63. Like I told you, I just graduated from school. I went to live with the students. I know the pains of these young ones. You don't even know how these children are surviving. Brilliant young boys, brilliant young girls, determined to succeed with so much obstacles in front of them. Most people in offices do not know what they are going through. And we went through all of that. And so we bring all this to the fore, and let those who are in position of decision-making know exactly what these children are feeling and how to deal with them. And let me tell you, the youths of Delta are very vibrant. They are vibrant. They are ready to work. They are very educated. They are very brilliant.
I'm glad you mentioned the youths of Delta. They're ready to work, very vibrant, very educated. And if you do a survey, do you think they are really interested in the internal wranglings of the political parties as much as the governance has been delivered to them?
That's why I said it earlier on, I'm not interested in all the wranglings the APC is bringing up on this program. What we are looking at is, how do we provide empowerment for these young ones? How do we make them find work after graduating? How do we make them fully engaged? Because if we don't, society is at risk.
Okay, Mr. Okubo, if you don't mind, let's take this to Lagos. Let's bring in Ofobruku. Ife, you had spoken earlier about your party and all that you've done for the elections, before the elections, during the elections, and after and my colleagues have asked you questions as regards the internal wranglings within your party. Some people have been expelled, you say, for anti-party activity, and I like the fact that Buki mentioned that one of them has a right of reply. And then some other people have also been expelled from the party. For instance, allegedly expelled the Deputy Senate President. Again, that question I asked Dr. Kubo, do you think Deltans are interested in the internal wranglings of your party as much as they're interested in the level of service that you and your party members have vowed to deliver to them?
Well, thank you, Neta. But it's important that some of the issues that were raised by Dr. Kubo, I respond to them quickly before I go to that. Dr. Kubo was Chief of Staff, Government House. I'm surprised he's just learning now that the students in Delta State are not comfortable at 63. When he was Chief of Staff, what effort did he put in towards making sure that there's improvement in education in Delta State? He talked about my principal leaving one party to another. Who started jumping from party to another in the history of this democracy? It's Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. When he sat as a PDP vice president under the Obasanjo administration, and at the same time, he was Action Congress presidential candidate. And he has moved from one party to the other, to the other, to the other. The question that he should ask himself, if you have a party and people are living in droves, they are running to another party, you should know that something is wrong. Check the records of the resignation that took place before the election. A lot of people, political office holders, party members, party officials resigned, dropped the umbrella, and embraced the broom. They left the PDP and came to the APC. In Delta State, the records are there. In Ika South local government, the federal constituency of Dr. Festus Okumbo, as I speak to you, the former secretary to the state government, Mr. Shedwebe, was suspended, and many others from that local government. So what I'm saying to you is that the crisis in Delta State PDP, even as they claim to have won, is worse than any crisis in any of the parties anywhere in Nigeria. In Delta State today, we have a situation where, like we say in my place, the shouting side is the winning side. But in Delta State, the winning side is the quiet side. Why? Because it's stolen victory. And the silence in Delta just now is so loud that everybody is wondering. You claim to have won, yet you are the one that is hiding. You should win and celebrate. Let people see you celebrate. But because they know that the victory will evaporate soonest than they imagine, that is why they have been in hiding. So Dr. Kubo cannot come to national TV like this and be trying to, to cleverly dissociate himself from the failure that is today known as Delta State PDP.
Can you answer the question?
Yes,
Can you answer the question how much you think the Deltans are interested in all the internal wranglings?
The reason why Deltans are concerned is because they see the APC Delta State as their hope, as their future. And from nowhere, some other hands are trying to cause crisis in the APC, in Delta State. So they are pained. They know that what Dr. Cairo Jugo and his cohorts are doing, they know that it is being funded, being sponsored by certain underhands. They know. Of course, Dr. Ojugbo himself used to be in PDP. They know his antecedents. Once upon a time, he led a protest in Asaba to the government house gate, in which he said he went to serve quit notice on Dr. Kowa, the governor, to quit government house. So we know that it's a hireling that can be hired for any purpose at any time politically. Who knows? Tomorrow he may be doing the same thing for Labour Party. And another day he could be in the NNPP doing the same thing. It's what he's known for. So if Dr. Okubo is today pretending not to be aware, of course I know his pretense. He knows that they are look, just go and check the media space today. It's everywhere in the news, even though everybody knows that it's just a fluke. But it's everywhere. The Deputy Senate President has been expelled. The Deputy Senate President has been expelled. They think that will rattle us or maybe cause any form of embarrassment. We have since moved beyond that. Our eyes are on the ball. Our eyes are on the ball, and that is what we are pursuing. The people of that are only concerned that this our hope that we are looking up to, what is going on, and we have done a lot of work to try to, to douse the tension, to make them know that it's just a fluke, nothing is happening. We are together as a political family. We are working hard to see that whatever we have set to achieve, we achieve. But let me put it on record. I did not leave PDP on account of wilderness experience. Oh, wow. The wilderness experience, yes, the wilderness experience is just one of those things, like Okubo said, that you can experience. I left the PDP because I do not believe in the candidacy of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Right Honorable Sheriff Oborewere. Sheriff Oborewere was my colleague in the assembly. I do not believe in their candidacy. I believe strongly that 2023 is the turn of the South to produce president. Then secondly, I do not believe in the capacity of the individual that is being paraded for governorship in Delta State, in PDP. I am very much aware that Right Honorable Sheriff Oburiwuri is more or less the third term of Governor Kowa. I know him very well. We were in the assembly together. We sat in the same assembly for 4 years. I supervised him for 2 years as special advisor on legislative matters. So it's somebody I know his capacity. I cannot support a man that does not have capacity for the job to get the job done. People, square pegs should be put in square holes. These were the reasons why I left the PDP.
Close to attack on individual. Go ahead, NC.
Mr. Fabuku, you've refused to let us interject or come in to ask you any question. You've gone on, and you've mentioned some names here of people who are not even here to defend themselves. I hope you know that you're taking responsibility for this. But moving on real quick, you were once in PDP, and you say you did not leave on account of a wilderness experience, but you want the Delta State residents and citizens of Delta State to believe in your drive for their future. But your house is not stable, and you want to blame somebody else outside for the instability in your house. Why do you do that?
It is very simple. I will give you a simple analogy. Like I said before, I left the PDP because I do not believe in the candidates they are putting for president and governor. That is my view. That is I had this conversation with even His Excellency, the governor of Delta State, because he invited me for a meeting. He asked me, and I told him that for this, I do not pretend. I can't be in a party and be doing anti-party. I can't pretend to be in the PDP and I'm working against the presidential candidate and working against the governorship candidate. No. So I had to leave to support those I believe have capacity to get the job done.
Let me quickly take this to Mr. Kubo as we wind down. Mr. Kubo, you say that you've emphasized that there's division in the APC house and you'd rather not get involved. But despite this division, the APC was able to scoop 2 senatorial seats, and even the LP won 1 seat as well. I'm not quite sure now if that's one of the House of Reps seats. Apart from that, in the presidential election, the PDP didn't put up a strong showing, and one could say that that's a vote of no confidence, even on the administration of the incumbent in the state at that level. So you would say that all politics is local, and then the PDP won the election at the state level. But then again, the argument could go back and forth to mean that the party has deployed state might to win the election in that state at the state level. How do you weigh in on this?
No, look, let's be realistic. The national election this year was quite an eye-opener to all Nigerians. And I've said it. I'm writing an article which I said, thank you. Thank you very much, obedience. You just gave me a new set of eyeglasses. Now, in Delta State, Labour Party won. The next party with about 160,000 votes, 150,000 votes was PDP. APC had 90,000 votes at the presidential election. So from the presidential election, APC was never a match to PDP. For the National Assembly elections, out of the 12 seats, PDP had 7. So they were never a match. Now, talking about jumping from one party, part of the problems of this country is discipline. And it is very foundational to what we do and how we govern and how we lead the society. A man has a wife. Because the wife's okra soup is not the way he thought it should taste, he divorces, jumps out of the home. A child is not doing well in school, you jump out. Instead of sitting down to help the child go through her lessons, instead of building your home, you are jumping to create new homes all over the place. And so they carry it from their personal lives into politics. You are uncomfortable with a decision in the party you belong, you are jumping out.
But Dr. Kubo, it's interesting that
APC, the APC, where I compare them to a wrestler who was so boastful, empty boast, and had so many supporters. But as soon as he got into the ring and he was slammed very badly, all his supporters kept quiet and moved away. That's what happened to APC. They make so much noise over nothing.
Well,
The
Dr.
PDP beat them. The PDP beat them at the presidential election. The PDP beat them at the National
I guess
Assembly
that will
election.
be confirmed,
The
Dr.
PDP
Kubo,
beat them
well,
at the House of
because
Assembly
already
election.
all of these conversations have been taken to the next level of the judicial process. I guess time will tell to affirm or overturn the results that's been announced. But for now, we have to thank you very much for being a part of our conversation. Dr. Festus Okubo is Chief Strategist to the Governor of Delta State, joins us virtually from Asaba in Delta State, as well as Honorable Efe Ofobruko, who is a member, Media Committee 2023 Governorship Campaign of the APC in Delta State. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
All the best.